What is up? Thank you for coming to my channel, Prison POV. Shout out to the joiners. Shout out to the Point of View crew. And speaking of the joiners and the Point of View crew, this is your guys' video. This right here is all you. It's your time to shine because it is the viewer's choice. It's the viewer's choice. I couldn't do this video without the viewer or the choice they make. What choice, Splinter? The choice, homeboy, to pick the vibe. To pick the question that's going to propel this whole video. Question? What is that? Like question? Yeah, just like I met this dude one time and he said, "Hey, what's up, Splinter? My name is Misery." And I said, "Misery?" No, Misery. Okay, so Misery it is. Submit your question and let's get it. Let's just kick it off right here with, hey, I can't think of a more perfect dude to start the video off with other than the homie, Just the Barber. Love that dude. Good dude. And his question is, homeboy, said Splinter, do white gangs or cliques go to war with other neighborhoods the way South, North, and Blood and Crip do? They have a form of it. I think everybody likes to gangbang. Everyone in their heart has a feeling, bro. They want everyone has gangbang. I'm trying to think of a real fancy word for it. I guess one don't exist, not that I know of. Everyone in their heart wants to kick up some dust. They want to get together with their comrades. They want to find a common enemy, and they want to let it rip. Unfortunately, I think that's in everybody. I mean, for instance, I know the skinheads, the racist versus the non-racist, and the traditionals against the racists. So the skinheads, different cliques will fight. I remember back in the day, NLR had a vicious war going with the Samoans for quite a while. I'm not sure exactly what that was, but I know it was a thing. And the punk rockers go against the metalheads. So there's a form of it, because I think everybody wants to kick up dust when it's all said and done. Good question though, brother. And so, hey, moving right along, I'm actually doing this backwards. More on that later. I'm doing like, anyways. Michael Hale, his question is, what is the most expensive weed you ever been heard of sold in prison? The thing about that, it's always going to be sold by, how can I explain this? When it comes to weed, it's going to be sold by caps, they call it. And back in the day, it would be a toothpaste cap. Long ago, they quit measuring it with a toothpaste cap, and yet they still call it by a cap. So no matter what, when you go to buy weed, they're going to say a cap. And it's always going to be 10 bucks. You might get 13 caps or 13 joints for 100 bucks. You might be able to work a deal, but at the end of the day, it's $10 a cap. Now, what varies greatly, what goes way up and down, is the size of the cap themselves. I've seen some tiny old shits being passed off as caps, bro, that you would never even think. Just like a chew, just a little sneeze of some weed, and I've seen some big old fat chunky, like a street joint, a big old cap. So it's always, the price can be the same, $10 a cap. You might be able to work a deal if you buy in bulk. But dude, what does a cap look like? They don't have scales in there. They eyeball it, and like I said, I've seen some small, tiny, where you just want to fight, like, that's my cap. Like, bro, like, homie, like you buy 3 of them, and they put all 3 out there, and you think it's just one. And like, this is one of them, right? That's all 3. Like, there's no way. No way. Anyways, hey, but there is a way. There's a way, because it's prison, and they're going to try to get you. So anyways, Always Stoned 98 says, does having the keys to a building give you respect or street cred when you get out? Yes, it does. Yes, having the keys to a building or a yard will give you respect and street cred when you get out there, hit the streets. But check out this little flipperooski. Check out this little thing. Like, watch this though. But you may not even get the keys to the building or the yard unless you already have respect and street cred. You know what I mean? So what came first, the chicken or the egg? Yes, having keys to the building is going to get you respect on the streets. But you wouldn't even get the building in the first place unless that respect wasn't already there. So that's objects in mirror closer than they appear. It is what it is because it can't be what it's not. So it's kind of like a little thing, but it's real. So, Carlton Smith, 73B, I believe it is, says, what was the shortest time on the streets between time and jail? So he's asking, in between jail stints, what was your shortest little time on the street? From getting out on this one and going into this one, what was your shortest? And I can tell you right now, the shortest was after doing a whole year now. A year is not that much, but I guess it is. It can be. Compared to what? A year is nothing compared to 20 years. A year is a lot compared to a month. So after doing a year, I got out on a Wednesday, and I was right back in on a Sunday. So just 3 or 4 days. And I had to do 2 weeks, and it was the longest, hear me now, it was the longest 2 weeks of my life. Because we're going to talk about a guy named Hal in a minute. And the problem with short-timer blues and how that works. When it comes to like weeks, dude, time will stop. I don't know why me slamming my foot on the ground and stomping is supposed to signify stop. But bro, time stops, dude. You got 2 weeks to do and just snarf, homeboy. So yeah, only out a couple days. We're right back in. And dude, it was the ultimate worst, Carlton. Good question. All these are great questions. Love you guys so much. So Pinoid 3132, and I hope I'm saying that right, says, who is the most depressing buzzkill guy you ever did time with? I told you we're going to talk about Hal, because the most depressing buzzkill dude I've ever done time with is a dude named Hal from Bakersfield. And the bad part about it, man, was, dude, it was my first violation, first of all. And it's the only homeboy I had in this great big building. I was in Mule Creek, level 1 yard, back when Mule Creek was still active, because I only been to active yards and all. I mean, Hal was my only homeboy in that whole big building. And he was the most grumpy buzzkill dude ever. You couldn't even have a conversation with him. They would let us have our TVs. It was dorm living, little 8-man sections. And you'd put your TV, he had his TV on this locker right here, and you'd have the top bunk, and you'd just sit there watch the TV like, just sighing all these like negative, dude, he's conveying a bunch of negative emotion through a grunt. And he slept right there by me, and I was all, dude, when I first started doing time, I'm gung-ho for Bakersfield. I'm down for my homeboys. I'm down for the woodpile. I want to be like, hey, what's up, homeboy? Good morning. We're going to go play some handball. I'm in it to win it. I'm wanting to have, like, high spirits and be cool and happy with life. But you look at Hal, and he, except when Randy from Modesto showed up. Randy from Modesto also slept in our section, but he was a dope man, feel me? So he would go out to visits, and he would come back with his ass packed. He would go to family visits, and he would go to Sunday visits, and he would come through packed, and he would hand out little care packages, and he would kick down little shizots of that clavo to people, and he would hook Hal up, and Hal knew it. So when Randy came through, Hal was in a good mood then. Boy, he would get up, and he would dance a jig, and he would laugh, and he would tell a joke. Hey, Splinter, what's up? Try to do a hug. And one time I put him on blast and called him out in front of everybody, which I should not have done, just based on respect, based on me being a little homeboy, and him being an older dude, one of the older homeboys. And I said, Hal, what's up with you, brother? The only time you're ever off your rack is when Randy comes through, and he breaks out the spoon. Then you jump up, and you're all happy. Other than that, you're on your rack pouting, brother. What's up with that? Why are you all happy just because the dope man shows up? And he's got all mad. I can't remember his exact words, but I remember he was, his exact words were similar to that. He somewhat barked at me, and I felt guilty, and people were like, hey, Splinter, shouldn't get at your older homeboy like that. And I had to apologize. I shouldn't have fronted him off. But hey, if the truth hurts, the truth hurts, brother. So Hal was a buzzkill dog. And in fairness, to defend him, speaking of short-termer blues, he was finishing up a 15-year sentence. He had like 3-4 months of the house. So if you've been down 15 years and you have 3 months, 4 months of the house, time stops. It's that short man blues, and it could be the ultimate worst. So, moving right along, Green-Eyed Gemini says, how much do things cost in there for comparison to the streets, like as far as commissary, cigarettes, and drugs? What do things cost? So commissary, I believe, is basically very fair, very good comparison for the streets, except for soups. No, bro, soups way out of line, dude. I remember first started going to county jail with top ramens were 20 cents on the streets, and you're paying $1 for a top ramen. $1 for one of them cup of noodle. So I remember they would get you there with no baseline, homeboy, when it came to the soups. Everything else is pretty much fair to the point I'd wonder how these people even making some money. They're pulling it off some way. But the only thing they will get you, though, which makes it seem like you ain't got no damn money, is when they get you for the restitution. Because if you go to prison and you owe the courts money, they're going to jack it. They're going to jack it off of your books. When your parents send you money, they're going to send you $100. The courts can take, the prisons can take up to 55%. So you get 100 mailed to you, you only get to spend 45. So when you go to the store and you only buy $45 worth of stuff, knowing you just got $100 sent to you, everything seems expensive. It's like, damn, what'd I get? 2 cases of soups, 2 jars of coffee, damn, for $100? No, for 45. But it seems like, you know what I mean? You can't really wrap your head around it. One time, though, also, you know, you got to keep in mind the unusual objects. Unusual objects, they're just like set your price. Pay whatever, you charge whatever someone will pay. I remember one time $100 bills were floating around. So I would buy a $100 bill for $300 on a mail out. My people would mail $300 to their people on the streets. And in there, I would get a $100 bill. So I'm paying $300 for one. But at the same time, there was big bags of weed floating around. But really hard to get. The dude was kind of paranoid. He was on the down low. He was on a different yard. You could only get it through school. And he was just nervous on me. Unless I broke out a $100 bill, then all those nerves on me, he shed that shit like thick skin, brother. And he was ready to do business. And I would get 13 fat caps for a $100 bill. And brother, so look at, yeah, sure I'd have to pay $300 for a $100 bill. But was that a good deal or a bad deal? Who knows? Because there was no price on a $100 bill. It's whatever you'll pay for it. So the economy could be a bit cray-cray up in there. Also, keep in mind, they have no scales. I remember that being a crazy thing, too. One time I got an asbestos check in there through legal mail, $700. I gave it to the Norteños. I was supposed to get 4 grams. 4 grams of Gattaca for $700. I mean, not that good of a deal, but then again, it was just a check. It wasn't like it was cash or even mail out. It was a check. Good luck cashing it, which they did. But 4 grams, but they weren't even grams. They don't have scales. I don't even think they were half grams, dude. I got those. I went, snarf. Where's the rest of it? Where's the rest? Oh. So, yeah. There you have that one right there, you know what I mean? So moving right along, Volkswagen. And I really love Volkswagen's question. I appreciate the way it's kind of layered, and I like the way it evolves. Okay, so trip on this. Volkswagen says, in regards to the NLR, he says, have you been around NLR on the streets after they were greenlit by the big homies? So after the NLR had a green light on them, did I hang out with them on the streets? Yes, I did. Then he said, and in regards to that, what were their thoughts? What were their thoughts when I seen them on the streets as to having the green light on them? They weren't speaking about it. They weren't talking about it. But judging from their actions, I'd say they didn't give a rip. Because they were just kicking up dust like it's a must. They didn't slow their roll one bit. They just kept on doing the damn thing. But I actually, and for a matter of fact, there's a dude named Bullet, rest in peace, Nazi lowrider, very good friend of mine. He did pull me to the side and explain some things to me. Say he did not appreciate the green light that they got over the FTB. Because he did not agree with that whole FTB thing, so he didn't like being under a green light because of it. As a matter of fact, he had a fight, get him up with a couple of his NLR comrades over the FTB thing, because they wanted him to tattoo and blast it on him, and he said, hail to the no. So he confided to me, we had a talk, he didn't appreciate it. But from what I could tell, though, by and large, most of them, dude, they didn't give a rizip. I think they brought that green light on themselves, and they knew it was coming. He also says, though, he says, if you see someone on the streets that you know is in bad standings, are you required to get them? I mean, it's a wobbler, bro. Yes and no. I mean, if they're in bad standings because something big, and it just happened, then yes, of course, you're going to get them. It's in everyone's mind. It's fresh in everyone's mind, I meant to say, and they want them, so you got the opportunity, handle that. But I mean, if it's for something small, like a drug debt, or something small, or if it's old, and it happened a long time ago, and it's kind of like small, and no one's talking about it, and it's kind of pretty much forgotten, then no, you don't bring it back up, you don't just ignite it, and you don't just make it an issue. You just do you, homeboy. So it's a wobbler. Dude, everything in there, nothing in there is black and white, bro. There's all kinds of different angles, and they'll give you plenty of rope to hang yourself with. So, Now, Kevin952B says this. Were you ever scared in this? Were you ever scared in lockup, he says. Was I ever scared in lockup? Yes! Homeboy, I mean, prison time is just one big nightmare. I mean, you're pretty much going from like fear to fear. There's always something to be scared of. I mean, you're going to walk through reception D yard, you're kind of fearful that you're going to get a shitty celly. And then if you get a crazy celly, you're kind of fearful that he's going to have a bunch of weapons stock in there. I mean, there's always something to be worried about and stressed about unless you're just a straight up, I mean, gangster and your freaking heart straight pumps gunpowder, homeboy. I mean, if you're one of those dudes, then, I mean, of course, nothing to worry about and smile now and cry later. But as for me and mine's, no, not even me and mine's. As for me and myself, because I can't speak for mine, homeboy, but I can tell you this, though. Always something to be worried about. Always something to be stressed out about. But more often than not, it was just one little trip at a time. Like I'm worried that I did this mail out and the money's not going to land. Or I'm kind of worried that a homeboy showed up and I think his paperwork might be a little foul and probably like I'm going to be able to handle it and it's like no hands. So like there's always something like kind of like, and I think a lot of my anxiety disorder came from prison. But one time I'm going to share with you right now that I could think of this one time in particular where I had multiple fears going on at once. My fears were literally like layered, if you will, homeboy. They were compounded because trip on this. I was in the hole, owing at Soledad. Single man cell. And all of a sudden, late at night, the cops come and announce that they're going to turn us into 2 men per cell. No longer was it going to be single man cell like it'd been for the last 3-4 years. I've been there 6 months. I've been there that way the entire time. No longer though. Now they're going to make it 2 men per cell. Now when the cops told the inmates that, the skinhead actually, who had the keys to the wood pile on the tier I was on, got mad. He said, nah, Charlie Holmes, we're not going to let the cops dictate that to us. We're not going to let the cops force us into getting a celly. We're going to stick with having single man cells. And he's like, and furthermore, Woods, you white boys, if they try to put an inmate in your cell, if the cops bring someone and try to put him in your cell, you take off on him, he said. So now when I got that kite, when I heard that directive, I'm like, dang, okay, snarf, gonna have to take off on someone. And to make matters worse, like I said, it was late at night. So now the tiers closed, because the cops like to bring people in late at night. The tiers closed, so I can't even do a follow-up kite. Like, what do you mean? Well, what if this happens? What if this? What about this extenuating, what's the word? What about this other circumstance that may pop up? Dude, I couldn't get no follow-up, bro. So what I started doing was packing my cell, getting my cell together just in case someone would pop up. Then it dawned on me, there's no just in case about it. It's a for sure thing. Because on the tier, when you go there, I'm the first white cell on the tier. So if the cops were to bring in another guy to start filling those cells in with double man cells, I'm going to be the first cell they're going to go to. My cell. They're going to bring a guy to me first. So I'm thinking, dude, snarf. I'm thinking any minute they're going to bring someone. So then I start thinking, who is this guy they're going to bring that I have to take off on? Is he some big, badass kung fu master? Does he have a weapon under his armpit? Do I have to worry about him? Must I also worry about getting beat on by the cops with their sticks and stones, homeboy? And then their bear spray, they're going to give me the eyes all the way to blindness? Homeboy, what else should I have to worry about? This is basically a PC move. If you do not want to be on a yard, if you're scared of somebody and you're walking to breakfast, you can just punch someone in the face. It's a PC move. It's like kind of like a gangster's way to get off a yard without telling. What else you can do? Go tell, drop a kite, or take off running. If you want to half-ass be a gangster as you PC up, you bomb on somebody. It's called a PC move. That's what this looked like to me. You can, and in addition to that, you can never deny a celly. You can never deny a bunkie. If CDC gives you a guy to live with, you have to live with them. Or you have to fight with them, but not bomb on them in front of the cops. See all the rules? See how this gets crazy, homeboy? And now I'm smack dab right in the middle of it, brother. Right in the middle of it. And I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle this. I could bomb on this guy. The cop could snatch me up, send me to another part of the prison. They say, Splinter, why are you here? I say, oh, because I bombed on this dude. And they say, why? I say, because the dude told me. The dude had the keys. And they send him a kite. And he says, I didn't tell Splinter to do that. Shit rolls downhill. Do you know how many times I've gotten in trouble for doing something I was told to do? But when they follow up, the guy who told me to do it says He didn't tell me to do it. That's why I quit doing things based on a verbal. No more verbals. If I'm going to do something, it's going to be something that's written down, a kite. I'm going to have a copy of it, and I'm going to say, see, read this. He told me to do it. So, yeah, I've been scared all right, homeboy. Damn right I've been scared. But as for now, I'm going to cut the string and let it fly. I hope you saw the live earlier when I went live from the parking lot. I was doing push-ups for burpees in the parking lot. Now I was doing burpees. I would do a burpee per donation. In a parking lot even. And guess what? I'm going to go live later tonight. It's Sunday and announce the raffle winner. Good luck to everybody. And I left it open a little bit longer because Cash App quit working. Snarf, snarf. Raffle's still open. Announce the winner later tonight. It's Sunday. I went live from a parking lot earlier. I did push-ups on me every time I got a donation, dog. What? Cut, string, let it fly. Peace.